So today I'll be telling you how you can turn your 50 broilers into your big poultry farm. Now, it requires a structured approach that prioritizes reinvesting profit, enforcing strict biosecurity and scaling up gradually, typically moving from 50 to 100, 200, 500 or 1000 bed. The key to this transition is ensuring high quality management in the first batch to secure initial profit for expansion. Now let me give you a step-by-step guide to scaling your 50 broilers operation. So the first step is to optimize the first batch. Now, how do you go about that? You go about that by securing a quality chicks. For example, you buy a vaccinated day-old chicks from a reputable hatchery. Then you need to have a perfect brooding also, like from week 1 to 2. Meaning you need to keep these chicks warm for like 32 to 35 degrees Celsius using 2 heat bulb for 50 chicks. Another thing, you need to get quality feed and water. You need to use high quality broiler starter for 0 to 3 weeks and finisher feed for 4 to 8 weeks. Now, strict biosecurity is another thing. Limit visitors, use food bath and isolate 6 beds immediately to prevent losses. Now, record keeping is another way. You need to track your feed consumption, mortality, and expenses for each batch. You get it? The next step, which is the second step, is to implement strategic expansion for like the 100 to 500 or maybe more than 500 beds. Reinvest the profit. Now, instead of spending profits, use them to purchase more chicks, feeders, and drinkers. Scale gradually. Now, move from 50 to 100, then 300, and eventually 500 plus as you master the management. Upgrade housing. Now, transition from small temporary setup to a well-ventilated, permanent or intensive pen, 1 square feet per bed. Automated system. As you scale to 500 plus bed, introduce automatic drinkers and nipple feeders to reduce labor and water wastage. It is very, very important. So the next step is your cost-effective management, which is the third step. Now, how do you go about that? You need to reduce your feed cost. Now, feed accounts for 60 to 80% of production cost. Now, optimize this by using no waste feeders and buying in bulk as you expand. Now, the next one is you monitor your FCR, which is the feed conversion ratio. Aim for an FCR of 1.5 to 1.8 to maximize profit. Now, you can use natural growth promoters. Use herbs like garlic, ginger, and turmeric in water to boost immunity and growth, reducing your drug cost, the rate at which you do buy drugs in order to manage or cater for your birds. So the last step here is your marketing and sales, which is very, very important. Now, how can you go about that? You need to sell early. Now, market your birds at 6 to 7 weeks to avoid excessive feeding costs. 8 weeks maximum, you get. Now, target diverse markets. Now, sell to local markets, supermarket, food vendors, and directly to consumers. Another way is to process your birds by increasing the value by selling this dressed or frozen chicken rather than the live birds. Now, let me just summarize everything of how you can scale up your 50 birds to big one. Now, I just want to give a summary of the requirement for 50 birds. You get. Now, for feed, now it is approximately 10 bags, which is of your 25 kg from day old to 8 weeks. Now, for the housing, at least 50 to 75 square feet of space. For the equipment, 3 to 4 feeders and 3 to 4 drinkers. Now, by treating the first 50 beds as a learning experience, reinvesting profit, and maintaining strict biosecurity, you can scale to a large-scale commercial farm. So this is how you can grow from your 50 beds to 100 beds, 200, 300 to 500 plus beds. You get, these are the various steps that you can actually take in order to scale up, to grow and expand your business. And another thing again, if you love this video and you find it very, very helpful, please help me like, comment and share. Help me and share. Please help me and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also you can find us on other socials, which is your Facebook, your TikTok, your Instagram is still one name we are still making use of, Israel Simplified Farm.